student meeting this week, but the whole house.
Okay, I know that we have all of our library board meeting, or members here today, so I think we can get started with the February 2026 meeting. My name is Stacy Lindquist, and let's get started. I'm going to go just a little bit out of order here because we have two new library board members that I'd like to introduce everyone to. The first is Amber in our Chaska branch. The second is Michelle, who's representing the Waconia, Watertown. There's a bunch of them. The list is kind of long, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think different townships.
When you're new, you don't even know that.
For clarity, I'd like to say, since I'm the manager of
Yes.
those three branches, Watertown, Waconia, and Norwood Young America.
That's it, Norwood Young America, I forget that.
Carver, or not Carver Express, sorry.
Cologne Express.
Cologne Express.
Yep,
And Mayor Express.
there we go.
We do it all up there, don't we?
They do, and those are cute. Excellent.
Margot, I'm sorry, Margot. Sorry.
These are new, because there was a different gentleman that was at Laconia. Yeah,
Shorter.
got here.
Show up at these meetings.
And Mayor, for now.
So the first order of business is to review the agenda, and I want to make a note that we are also going to be reviewing the agenda for November 18th, which should have been approved in January, but we didn't have a quorum in January.
Because you guys weren't appointed yet.
Correct, but they did review it and say everything looked good. So has everyone had an opportunity to review January's notes? And if so, do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve contingent on some very, very minor editorial changes that need to be made. Margot, I'll give that to you. I have some margin. They're not consequential.
Oh, excellent,
Just
thank you.
kind of
Vern.
polish them up.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion approved. And then have we had an opportunity to look at the meeting minutes? And if so, do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Amber.
Again, some very minor editorial changes, non-consequential, but should be made.
Excellent, thank you. And those are going to Margot as well?
Yes.
Excellent. Motion approved. I believe we're also going to make a minor adjustment to the public comments. We have the Carver mayor here today, as well as city manager. Hello.
Hi, the city manager, I believe, I was just upstairs, and I believe that he is tied up in a phone call.
He's right behind you.
I don't know why you're not.
Get up here.
You always gotta sit behind.
Stop it, it's not like that at all.
But I thought that was, you know.
Sorry, I was gonna give you a get out of jail free card for you. You were, I was not lying.
I was on the phone.
Upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has devolved into lying, here we are. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I appreciate that you kind of take your meetings on the road. I know that that's probably not as convenient, but I appreciate you coming out into our community. I also appreciate the work that you were doing. I was going to send you a message because I had to go to the Chaska Library because I was having a problem with my Libby app once again. And I was just treated so kindly and had the best experience. There's a young woman who said it was her 4th day at work last week, and she was super sweet in teaching me how to work through my problem. Turns out I just needed to re-enter my PIN, but I was kind of like, I'm listening to a book and I'm like, and we have 7 more hours left on this, and I've got to like finish this up. I've also said this every time I think that I've met with library folks, is that I appreciate how many different options the library offers and how you truly like meet us where we live. I'm busy, so going to the library for me looks like reserving a book on the Libby app and listening to something or reading something on there. I go to the library so infrequently, for better or for worse, that I didn't know there was a new entrance to the Chaska Library and kind of went in the wrong door for the 101st library celebration. So, but I still feel like I'm a really active library patron because, again, I can do it just through this. So I thank you for that. So that's really great to have that option. On to the City of Carver updates. Since you guys have been here last, We've had a few new businesses come to town. We have Ivy Aesthetics, which is located in Carver Square, which is where Carver Dental and Missy's Pizza, Chiropractic Specialists of Carver, O2B Kids is right north of the roundabout in Midtown Carver. They are kind of like an injectables and Rejuviderm and facial kind of place. We also have a new industrial development that's coming that's going to be on the corner of Jonathan Carver Parkway and Levi Griffin Boulevard, which is Levi Griffin Boulevard. If you're not familiar with Carver, that's the road that you take to get into Fleet Farm and Lakeview Industries. So that's coming. We're expecting to see some movement on that this year. We also have Les Schwab, which is going to be kind of a tire and auto services store that is going to be kind of the first thing that you see just south of 212 on Jonathan Carver Parkway. That building is very much, has taken shape and should be opening in the next couple of months, I assume. And then last but not least is Taco Bell. That is all through our approval process. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. And as I was explaining to Stacy earlier, what surprised me is the Taco Bell folks, when they were in through our approval processes, said that it's only going to be a 120-day construction cycle for them, which feels super, super quick. But apparently they've got a model and they know what they're doing, and it's kind of the same building that they put up in different parts of the country, so they got down to a science. So
That will be open when? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
120 days after they break ground. So
okay. Yeah, let me know, because I never met a taco I didn't like.
I know, same.
Probably around Labor Day or so.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Carver is growing. If you guys have not heard, we're a community of about 7,500. We're probably closer to 8,000 now, but we get our population estimates a year behind from the Met Council. Part of that growth is multifamily housing that's taking place. We have Carver Place that opened last fall, which is 60 units of workforce housing that's kind of up on the hill off Jonathan Carver Parkway. Next month, and probably folks might be moving in any day now, is Carver Oaks, which is affordable housing for seniors. That's in that same area as Carver Place and Carver Crossing. We're also in the review process of two other developments, the Enclave, which will be on the northern-ish side of town, kind of on our westernmost growth border, just south of 212, but kind of west of where Oak Tree is, west of Carver Elementary, generally speaking. And then we have Summerfield, which is going to be on our southernmost part of town. So if you know where County Road 11 or Jonathan Carver Parkway jogs to go south, like if you're going to Jordan, it will be, if you're continuing straight on there, it'll be in that general vicinity on the west side of Jonathan Carver Parkway. I think last year when I spoke to you guys, I was talking about Creekside Park that we were working on. It's now open. It has a dog park that'll be opening in the spring, but the pickleball courts and everything else that's there opened last summer, last fall. And then levy updates. We hosted both the House and the Senate Capital Investment Committee last fall. And they were here to kind of tour and learn more about our project so that when we were going to, so that they were just knowledgeable at about our project because we were going to be asking for bonding money from them. We are most likely going to be rescinding that ask because last week I got a call from a staffer in Senator Klobuchar's office, and the city of Carver has received $4 million for our levy.
All right.
Yay! So we're really excited about that. We haven't made it super public yet because there are just a few things that we need to figure out. But we will be getting that money, so I'm confident in telling you guys that and going on the record with that. So really, really excited about that. So we should have shovels in the ground for that project later this year. And we'll have a certified levy 10 years down the road once the feds get through that process.
Yeah, cool.
What am I forgetting?
Okay, I really thought I.
We are also working on a future public services facility. As our community has grown, we need more plow trucks and lawnmowers and all of the things equipment-wise, and we are just really, really stuck for space. The analogy or the story that I always like to tell is that when we were doing the tour, like, you kind of got to shimmy between vehicles if we have everything in. We don't have garage space for everything. And one of the individuals that was on the tour kind of tripped because there's just so much stuff in there. So we need more space for our public services, vehicles and equipment. We have purchased land that is off of Jonathan Carver Parkway, the portion that jogs south to Jordan. As you're going down and kind of before you get into the valley, there's that U.S. Fish and Wildlife area that has the outdoor restrooms. The parcel that we purchased is just on the other side of the street of that. So we purchased that. We still have a lot more planning to do. We're still looking forward to doing a lot more public engagement, but we are planning to hopefully put a new public services facility there. When that happens, the fire department will stay where they're at, but they will take that entire building that's off of Jonathan Carver Parkway, which right now is kind of 50-50 public services, and the other 50% is the fire department.
Nailed it.
Anything from you? Okay. Any questions?
What was the name of the second business? You mentioned Ivy Aesthetics.
Ivy Aesthetics, I talked about an industrial development.
Okay, all right, and
Is that the
so,
one? And then Les Schwab.
right, and by industrial development, you're not talking about one business, it's sort of a zone, industrial development zone?
New development. So what it is it's industrial build to suit. So I think the plans, I think the ownership of the building is changing. So as will this change. But the original plans that the city has seen and what we have seen so far are two mirror image 187,000 square foot buildings. So just under 200,000 square foot buildings each, a total of under 400,000 square feet. And what they would do is they would build that and subdivide that depending on who they were able to get to sign leases. At this point, from where the city is sitting, we don't know who those leaseholders will be. And I think to this point in the process, I think that the developer hasn't known because I think that that's something that they're still working on. We just learned recently that the ownership has changed hands, and I think they do have a lessee identified, but again, we're still at the point where they're holding their cards pretty close to the vest, and we don't know.
I did want to point out for this group that the two properties she mentioned, the Carver Oaks and the Carver Place, are in partnership with the Community Development Agency.
Yeah,
And you've been great partners.
yeah, the CDA owns those two buildings, so.
And
it's
they
good to
manage
see.
those from that, and CDA is a, we as county board members appoint members to the CDA on that.
The CDA has owned that parcel of land for 15 or 20 years. So it has been
It's
like
taken that one, yeah.
an exercise in patience for them to get the funding and to be at the right place at the right time for those projects. So it's super exciting to see that come to fruition and to be able to welcome those residents to our community.
I'm sorry, that was Carver Place and which?
Carver Oaks are
Yeah.
CDA.
managed and by the CDA.
Another fun kind of county project. Have your way out of town, if you go down all the way to the end of Broadway, the Miriam Junction Trail Bridge is under
Yes.
construction. So that's a project kind of headed by Scott County, but Carver County contributed. But it is a massive piece of
That's going to be
infrastructure.
a really great,
But a really big tourist attraction also for our locals, and so really excited about kind of a renaissance to our already great downtown. We're finding a community gathering space for a park at the end of the block that will be designed in the summer with some residents, but it's worth a look just to see where it is and how that's going to kind of change the face of our, not just community, but probably region. So.
oh yeah, that's going to be a joint meeting schedule.
If you're on the levee, what's directly across the river is the Louisville Swamp Recreational Area, which I have been to less times than I've been to the library. But I understand it's great, but that river is just such a barrier when it is almost literally a stone's throw away. So it's going to make just that whole area wide open to Carver residents and so much more accessible.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Thank you both so much. Any questions? Cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
both
you.
very much.
Thank
We'll
you
see guys
both.
next year.
Not sooner.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sounds good, thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Is there anyone in the public who'd like to make any comments today? Yes? Come on up, please.
Okay. Sit, stand.
Yes,
sit.
either share with us, please.
I'm Nancy Harris.
Hi, Nancy.
I'm technically a resident of Laketown Township, but all my documents say Waconia, so we'll go with Waconia. I'm a lifelong resident of Carver County. I grew up in Chaska. I remember going to the library delightfully in the Klein Mansion in Chaska, sitting in the window seats, reading my next episode of Betsy, Tacy, and Tim. You know, I mean, I just have an affinity for the library system. Kids came along, immediately got them library cards as soon as they were old enough, able. 2 grandkids now also in the library system. Volunteered time for the library, teaching internet to adults for a time, and then, you know, my own parents needed my help, so that's sort of ended that. But I have an affinity for the library. I wanted to kind of lay that out first. I'm a big library user, and as the person before me said, a lot of my library now is online, you know. But I can recall making my dad drive me into Waconia because when I grew up, we didn't have the internet. And if you needed an encyclopedia, you needed to go to the library unless you had very rich friends. And generally speaking, that encyclopedia was 15 to 20 years old and out of date now. So lay that out on the line. So what I wanted to talk to you about today came to me. I didn't go looking for this. I got a message, and I know Lisa and his, oh gosh, Edstrom. I'm so sorry.
Jody.
Jody, thank you. I was going to say Barb, and I knew that wasn't right. I know we communicated via email a bit. So this is going to sound real familiar to you. I received a message last week from a Hennepin County librarian who was on a call with librarians across the state of Minnesota. And I don't know what the topic of the meeting was, but eventually the topic of ICE and immigration rates came into the conversation. And generally speaking, what was communicated to me was that Carver County is without a plan. And that, I don't know, Lisa, I see you shaking your head.
No, right.
I just know what was told to me. And that many of them were very concerned about what would happen with the staff and the patrons in the libraries in Carver County without a plan. Now, Lisa and Jody have pointed out to me that, you know, the Attorney General Ellison has come out with a policy. But I would say a policy without procedure is not worth the paper it's printed on. So you can have a policy, but if you don't have a procedure to follow, my policy is I'll have Thanksgiving and expect my family around the table. But the procedure would be the turkey, the stuffing, the gravy, you know what I mean? And without that procedure, dinner ain't gonna happen, folks. So I wanted to make sure that our patrons, the children that come there during the day, maybe it's a daycare, maybe it's a mom with 1, 2, 3, 4 kids. They come for story hour. They come to pick out a book. I'm always reminded of the Tom Chapin song, pick out a book, check it in, check it out. I'm concerned about that. You know, I mean, I know we can't block ICE from coming into a public space. I know that. That's fine. But there are simple things that we can do, like provide a private room. Label it as private. And I actually created a little form if you wanted to use it as a template, absolutely running it by your legal counsel. Absolutely. You don't have to use it, but there are those things out there. Slap that on a door of a staff room or a meeting room or something, and you advise your patrons if ICE comes and they're concerned, that's where they go. Now, we all know that perhaps ICE isn't going to honor that sign, but we can try. Oh, you look doubtful, but they're breaking into homes without warrants, so they're not going to let a sign on a staff room stop them probably, but it doesn't mean we can't try. So I just wanted it to bring it forward to you all, and I will be completely honest with you. I come from a union family, deeply entrenched in union ways, and so I did reach out to AFSCME 65, Max Forrester, I think is the rep that you all have, that's who I spoke with, and told him that I was coming here to talk today and that I had concerns, and he will be bringing up at their meeting in March. So that's a long ways to wait, but I'm concerned this is not, I don't have, I do too have a dog in this fight, and, in this hunt, but I'm concerned, do we have a procedure? You shook your head like, no, like we do have a procedure, and I would be thrilled to know that you do, and I will walk away happy. Is there a procedure set out for staff to follow? Should there be an ice raid at a local library? Outside of calling a library manager, I think you're the manager, right?
I'm one of them.
And then the director, Joey, right? The director, yeah. So those were the two things I was told that the staff was told to do as the procedure. And, if one of you is out sick or on vacation or something like that, then what? And then they call you, what do you do?
So we have provided guidance, procedure in terms of like a calling tree to our staff members per county guidance. And so I think at this point, we want to take your concerns into consideration and take them back to the county and have some internal discussion. Some safety protocols we do not share publicly. And I
That's
totally,
fair.
I absolutely thank you for bringing your concerns, and I appreciate that you're so dedicated to the community and to our library. And so we want to honor what your concerns are and take those with us today. So I'd rather not delve into all the details at this point. Again, some of it is because of our guidance from the county that we don't share some of that information out.
And
So,
I understand
yep,
that, but
yep.
I was at an event last week, and I got there, and I was in charge of the frontline thing, and I was handed a 4-page document, said, oh, this is what we do at ice counts. And then my people are lining up. You're handing this to me now? And I'm like, okay, well, it says we need a safe room. And what they came up with was not acceptable. And so I would like to avoid that from the library, and I will be avoiding it going forward by being this person to that group, saying, hey, what you guys did last week kind of sucked, and we can do better than this. So I just don't want to see Carver County Library getting in the news, and I seriously, I thought about my little grandchildren, my little 9 and 7-year-old granddaughters, sitting in the library, and we sat around the table on Sunday waiting at dinner before the Super Bowl, and my husband said, do you really think people are going to go to the library? And my son was there with one of the grandchildren, and he's like, yeah, if I were ice, that's where I'd go. And I'm like, seriously? God, that was Minnesota, wasn't it? I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So I think about those little kids, I think about my granddaughter sitting in the library and watching camouflaged, not really uniformed terrorists coming through the door. We'll call them terrorists because I would be terrified if they came in with their guns drawn, their pepper spray in their hand. And they're not going to come in, oh, don't be worried. They're going to come in full of force. Think about those kids sitting there and what they're going to do. Now, what is the response? What is the staff's response? I just kind of want to leave you with that. I won't belabor this any further because your time is at a premium. I get that. Appreciate you listening to me. I really do feel like we owe everybody, your staff and the patrons, more than just call the manager, call the director. I understand and I respect that you can't share internal safety measures, but I mean, if I'm a patron and I walk in and I don't know what the plan is, if you guys have a plan, but it's not communicated to me in any way by things on the wall or something like that, then again, it's not going to do anybody any good. So at some point, it's going to have to be public what your plan is, so that they know what they need to do as well. So anyways, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your work, not only here on the board, but in the libraries. It's a resource that when you use it a lot. And sometimes you walk away and you don't think about it for a while until you need it. And then it's there. And so it's a wonderful thing, and I really do appreciate the work you guys do. So thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate that.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming,
you.
Nancy.
Can I get your
Thank
last
you.
name for the notes?
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, Nancy Paris. Yep, P-A-R-R-I-S.
Okay, thank you. I mean, with that kind of last name, you get to go Yeah, you get to go travel to Paris.
Well, you'd think, wouldn't you?
Right?
I don't
Thank you,
know,
Nancy.
the 2 hours makes it Paris.
Well, I suppose.
I don't know.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nancy. No more public comments? Okay, excellent, thank you. Team update youth services?
Yes, and I apologize, I did not get this in to the packet. Oops, and I'm throwing things all around. There you go. I'm gonna pass those around, please. Take that out.
What's in? Fancy.
Go around. Sorry.
Thank you.
Wow, people have these, we have extras.
Yes, we have extras. Would you like one? We have extras.
Okay, some of this is repeat, some of it is, we share a lot of photographs in our board reports, and they're usually children and teens programs. I very intentionally wanted to take that out because it matches up with where we're going, with the direction we're taking internally as a youth services team in 2026, and I'll get to that in a second. So normally I don't focus heavily on data. It's important. We need it for funding. We need it for reporting. People can grasp it easier, but there's a lot that doesn't get captured in the photographs of the youth services programming and in the data that is included here. We're trying to figure out how to do it. However, so I digress as usual. Okay, so first you'll notice in the first top box, the 2025 youth services goals. The teen Spanish language collection that has been completed. We did move some goals to 2026 based on the staffing issues we had in 2025, just to make sure we had capacity for doing the summer reading program. So we actually have removed the program survey tools, and I'll come back to that in a moment. The teen graphic novel collection, that collection is almost complete right now. It's in the hands of processing. So it's no longer a part of the youth services, but it is, I think it might be complete, or it's almost complete at this moment, and then it's done. The staff decodables training, that goal is being reworked. And again, that was originally moved to 2026, but we're trying to base it more on assessing what the needs are and then supplying that versus just doing a training. Trainings are great, but they only train one person, and we've got lots of people coming into the library that don't necessarily connect with the staff, but I'll get to that in our goals moving forward as well.
Excuse me, what does it mean? What are they being trained for?
Oh, decodables. So decodables are basically phonics. I'll just...
Wait, are what?
Phonics.
Phonics.
Oh, phonics.
So decodables are books that work on a phonics base. And for new parents who maybe didn't get raised on phonics or weren't brought up on phonics, it's decodables. It's breaking it down into the language elements to learn to read. And it's something that a lot of, it's been proven, studies prove that it's the best way to learn to read, and we've come back around to it.
Yay.
So schools are doing this work, and we're working to support what schools are doing and how that's going to look, what that's going to look like across our system is TBD. I will tell you that this is something that the MELSA Youth Services librarians were talking about it, and everybody's in the same boat. Some have more people that they can put on it. Some people have less people they can put on it, but everybody's saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't know yet. Where is it? You know, so it's all, everybody's in process. The good thing is we're all sharing information. So 2025, we had to kind of shut things down and really focus on what was core. So I'm going to move again, but one thing that is significant, the two things that I've left on this page that are significant are the things that really are, two of our programs that are core to youth services. They're not everything, but they're core. Story time. It is, always has been, always will be core. It connects our patrons to literacy, whether parents understand it or caregivers know it or not. They're learning when they go to the story times. And kids are being engaged, they're engaging with each other, the families engage. It's one of our it is probably the most important program that we offer across the system that has the equal impact No matter who, that's not the way what I want to say it. We'll just say it's big impact. So if you look at these, I did want to look at the individual numbers and not the total. Sometimes I like looking at the totals, and we'll see what I do next year. But this, I wanted to look at the individual numbers. I could have put them all together and said, oh, look at all these numbers. But I wanted you to see the breakdown because we did have to cut some story times out. So Chanhassen cut out story times. Watertown cut out a story time. Waconia cut out 2 story times last year. And this had to do with staffing and making sure that we had coverage on the desk. So what I'm hoping is that next year we'll see, these are great numbers, but we'll see them go up a little because we're adding back our story times because we know how important they are. They're not all being added back, but we'll get there. So story time. The second thing which I mentioned this past fall was our summer reading program. These are almost the same bits of information I shared when I did the reporting on summer reading, but one thing I dropped was the reviews. I took the numbers for the number of reviews out, and I'm going to come back to that too. But just so you can look at 2025, it was great engagement. It was a little different. It went up in some parts of the county and down in others. We weren't able to do outreach like we normally would do, so we expected things to be a little wonky, and it was. But all in all, everybody who participated, it was great. There was a question about the cost of it, so it's a little over $34,000 that we spent last year, and you can see the breakdown there. The unknown is we get tickets given to us, State Fair tickets, Underwater World, Twins tickets are provided by MELSA, and we don't know every year what we're going to get, so, and we don't know what the value is. We're just grateful, and so are our patrons. So I'll jump ahead. Okay, and on the back of this gives you, if you get out your readers and put them just so on your nose, you will be able to look at some of the program breakdown. I wanted that to be there just so you could get a broader sense of the programs that go on. And again, we cut a lot of programming this year, particularly in the western branches. And again, that was due to staffing or lack thereof. But we are working to try to add them in, but we're being way more thoughtful about how we do it and what the impact is. So that's 2025, and because it was such a crazy year, I thought it was really important to talk about 2026 because we did start talking about 2026 in 2025. You can see our youth services goals. There's a lot of evaluation. Because we're really, 2 key questions. One I asked was, what is core? If we can only do X amount, what is core to youth services programming? And literacy, but what does that mean? So literacy is summer reading program, story times, and we started talking about other types of literacy, and that's an expanding conversation. So part of the other thing I asked was, what data do we actually need to do our jobs? There's data we have to collect and report to the state. There's data that we do collect because it's interesting, and we have tools that we use to collect that data, and it's fun, it interacts with, and people engage it, but we're trying to really look at the value of that data and what it actually means. Do we actually look at those numbers and use them to make changes or make adjustments? So we're talking a lot about evaluation. What data do we actually need to do our jobs outside of what we have to report, obviously. And I reflected on that a little bit more, just in this little right-hand side, what we're looking at in 2026. And what we've started doing is focusing on core programming, evaluating tools and programs. And I'm going to come back to that quickly in a minute. Reconfiguring the summer reading program to be even more user-friendly. I'll come back to that. Configuring the summer reading program to be even more literacy-focused. Come back to that. Utilizing meeting time wisely. That was one of the first things that was requested of me when I started by a member of my peer group community, and I understood. And we're meeting that one already. And then the last thing was improving our stewardship of funds. It's really, I'm a little bit too tight with money, but once it goes like crazy. But just really being good stewards of the money, whoever we get it from, for whatever reason, that we're really thoughtful and that those dollars go a long way. I want to go back to summer reading program to give you a heads up as the board. After evaluating last summer, the team got together to really break down summer reading program and what we're trying to accomplish. And basically what we're trying to accomplish is to keep kids engaged in reading over the summer. We just want kids to read, and we want kids to be engaged in not just reading the literacy of reading, but different literacies. So what we have done is everybody participated, and everybody's names are on the bottom there, so you can see who are the active regular parts of the team. We went through everything, and looked at what works, what doesn't work, what do we want to keep, what do we want to get rid of, what do we want to start. One of the things that we're getting rid of this year is the reviews. Now, that's a big data point. Huge data point. However, if you were to look through the reviews, we have people that will literally come in with a stack at the end of the summer with scribbles on them, and because those are for prizes. And the whole prize thing has erupted into this thing where all summer, oh, I got another one coming in, they're upset, this and that. And we're finding that the goal of the program was going toward the prizes and not toward reading.
So can you just time out?
Yeah.
Did anyone else get stuck with reviews? Like, what did you mean by that?
Reviews, book reviews, I'm sorry.
Book reviews, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
they read-
book reviews.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Program review, okay.
Yes.
We
Sorry,
expect that we will have some
couldn't move
negative
forward in
program
my brain.
reviews
Okay.
in 2026 because we are taking that very super engaging component of reviews, but what it was driving drawing numbers.
Right.
It
It
wasn't
wasn't driving the right behavior.
It wasn't
Good girl.
right.
Good.
So and that was another thing we talked through. We made decisions collectively as a group, and then I went back through and said, are you okay if this impacts your numbers? Are you okay if the board sees these numbers drop? Are you okay if your community sees these numbers? And everybody was in agreement that the most important thing was to keep kids engaged over the summer.
Yes.
And so I expect that next year I'll be saying, yay, our numbers dropped, or something like that. Or not, but we're really simplifying it. We're having one sheet, usually we have 3 sheets plus the review sheet. Now we're going to have 2 sheets. One is going to be for ages 0 through 11 and then 12 through 18 for teens. And so it's very literacy-based, very open-ended. They are getting 1 book prize, and we are going to have drawings, but they're going to be just part of the regular thing. We don't know what tickets we're going to get yet. We do have a different approach for the Twins tickets because they've been problematic, and if we do get Twins tickets, we know what we're doing. We're going to say, this date is at this branch. If you want to go in the bucket, go over there and put your name in the bucket. So we are trying to change things. We're going to programming have things more on site that can be engaging. It'll be more passive programs, but passive programs with some depth. Yes, some simple scavenger hunts, but also trying to give it some depth. So for older kids to engage, they're not just looking for a picture of a snail. They're looking for, they find information about a snail too, or a snail project or whatever. So that's really, I wanted to tell you where we're going and where we've been. 2025 was great, but it was all over and not what we planned, but everybody worked really hard, and I think they were very successful in what they were able to put their time to. But I think 2026 is going to be really good, and they're ready to evaluate. So we're going to evaluate the summer also. We're going to evaluate. So that's all I got.
Cool.
It was a lot.
That was a lot, but thank you.
But it was great.
It was really, it's really good. Phonics, yeah, so decodables equals phonics.
Yeah, we
That's what
call them
I- that's what I-
decodables in the
that's what I
library
wrote.
system.
That's what I
Basically.
just wrote.
If that's all I
Decodables
remember,
equals
then
phonics.
Yes,
It's
it's
a win.
basically.
So-
You will be able to search by decodables, you'll be able to search that and get all the
Right.
books up. That's still in process.
Okay.
So it's really about putting more priority on, the basic building blocks of reading. That's really what we're doing here.
That's what decodables is
Yeah.
I want to make sure we don't become teachers because we're not teachers.
Yeah.
So there's that care for, some systems have people they can hire that can fill that role, but we
Right.
don't have that.
Got
That's
it.
fine by me, frankly. But so it is that, but it's also, we want it to be engaging and fun. Another thing our team is doing is we're taking a storytime class together through the state.
Cool.
And not that, I mean,
Nice.
everybody knows how to do storytime, but to do it together and talk about it and see if we can pick up anything, and also so that we can share back. So there's things we're doing.
Yeah, cool.
And could you please explain again what you meant by reviews? I
Oh,
didn't
I'm sorry.
understand that
Yes.
fully.
So book reviews. So what we had was.
Who's doing the book
The
review?
kids.
The kids are doing the book reviews?
Yes, the kids do book reviews, and how it worked was they did a book review, and then at the bottom, they'd circle what ticket they were interested in, and then they'd get entered into a drawing for that.
Okay, what do you mean by ticket? The ticket they're interested in?
Yes, state fair tickets, Twins
okay.
tickets.
The prize.
Underwater, yeah.
The prize,
ticket.
okay.
Prize.
And
So
then-
for every book they read, they could do another review essentially.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're really talking here about
Seriously.
teens. These are teens that are
Oh,
doing
no,
reviews.
this is all ages.
All ages?
Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
and one side would be drawing, that's the other, it was drawing, you could do a drawing, which, in one hand, it's a great, and we are gonna offer it, but we're not promoting it as a way to win prizes.
Right.
Okay,
So it's still, because there are kids that did amazing. They were
Right.
into it, they loved it, and then we share those reviews.
Okay.
And we still want to support that for the kids and the families that like to do that as part of their things going. And, but have it be just an activity as opposed to a driving.
okay. And so in the past, prizes were given for exceptional reviews?
No.
No?
Prizes, no.
Just the drawing.
Just the,
Yeah.
okay.
The more,
so-
the more
all right.
that you would submit.
But they'd have to do a review, I mean.
No.
No?
Okay, yes, and,
Right. Like if you filled out a piece of paper that said, I really love this book,
right.
That was a review.
that was a
That
review,
was a
and that
review.
was a
Okay.
chance to
We
win.
didn't
And I think they're
differentiate.
renegotiating. Yeah.
We would, if, and
Right.
it was okay for the littles to come in and do a
For
scribble,
sure,
but we
yeah.
would get a stack of scribbles.
Because things got out of hand with the prizes.
Yes.
People got too focused.
Yes,
Now I
and
understand.
people were upset if they
Okay.
didn't win because they count on getting the state fair tickets every
Sure.
year.
Oh,
and
gosh,
just that kind of
that's-
thing.
yeah.
And we want to supply that, but we don't have any.
Oh.
So
Okay.
that's why you're happy if the numbers go down.
Well, we're happy if the numbers go down because if we get people who are really interested in participating in the program.
So it's
Yeah,
quality over quantity.
Exactly.
And I
Okay.
love that.
All right, good.
Yeah. good.
Yeah.
I like that too.
How are you going to measure engaged in reading? I mean, I know that's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but actually, it might actually be easier this year because we're not being driven by prizes. The other thing we're not doing is giving away Barnes & Noble gift cards. Those are going to be central to other activities. Last year, we gave away just under $4,000 worth of gift cards for Barnes & Noble in addition to all of those tickets.
That's a lot of
And,
money.
yeah, it was a lot. And this year, we're associating the Barnes & Noble gift cards only for the teen sticker contest, and we are reinstating the bookmark contest. We took a year off from that.
Oh, cool.
For the younger kids, up to teen. So there will be prizes associated with that. Again, we want the prizes to be participatory, you know? So,
Yes. Yeah. That makes
Well,
sense.
good.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
And so that's how we would get the engagement pieces. People who are willing to do this when they're not going to get Twins tickets.
Right?
doing
We
this-
want you here with
Yeah,
us.
yeah, I mean, they'll
Got
get
it.
them, but not that way.
Yeah, got it. Cool.
Love the
Nothing
data.
wrong.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a really good update, Wendy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's not Wendy.
Not Wendy. Oh my God, sorry.
Wait,
Margo, sorry, Margo. No, I know. That's okay, but
I know, I just had to say that because I'm like, wait, I'm confused now.
Yeah, no.
Wendy,
My apologies.
No, it's all good.
I thought I got it right.
And
I already don't have room on my paper.
No, it's all
Taking too many
good.
notes. Taking too many notes.
Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, my favorite part of the day. The next item on our agenda is the election of officers and the Library Foundation liaison. My name is Stacy, and I was voluntold that I would be president after, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, actually
After,
not, but anyway.
Not really, but after Dee left, which I have not heard from him, so I'm assuming no news is good news. He loves Indiana, and awesome, cool. So the positions of president, secretary, and foundation liaison are up every year for renegotiation. So if anyone wants to put their name in the hat to be this person, now's your opportunity to speak up. And I know Ern is excited because I've sort of been nudging him that I think he'd be great for the job.
So wait, is it all one job?
No,
Okay.
first there's president, and then there's secretary, and then the foundation liaison.
Okay,
But I
because when
think
you
we
said
can-
the job, I mean, I just.
Oh, sorry, no.
I'm like, you go. Or-
Ern, I believe you might be running unopposed.
I think I should know what it is before I.
No.
The president of the library board is not a terribly difficult job, but you do sort of facilitate these meetings. Wendy. I have Wendy
Jody.
on the brain today.
Well-
Jody might reach out to you, midweek if something were to come up, if there was a, I don't know, Jody could reach out to you, but it's mostly about facilitating these meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Secretary is.
Secretary is kind of in name only. I think Ern takes it probably more seriously right now. He takes a lot of really good notes. He takes very good notes. And he probably will do that even when he's president. So I think that's just who Ern is as a person, right? But it's kind of in name only because the Margot or one of the other librarians usually does that note-taking for us. But they also, the secretary also, the president can't be at a meeting, they facilitate the meeting, which Ern has done for me a number of times in the last year. So are you saying you might want to be president?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, she just wanted
just
to
didn't know.
description.
Yeah,
Like the
I didn't know
foundation
if I can
liaison,
got it.
what
Yeah.
is that role?
And then there's the secretary, which is kind of a,
You explain secretary.
Yeah, I kind of
But-
explained.
Yeah, but what's foundation?
so the foundation liaison is a role that I carry right now as well. So the Carver County Library Foundation is separate from the Friends groups. The Friends groups are aligned with their individual libraries, where the Carver County Library Foundation is a nonprofit for the entire library. So when they raise money and give it to the library, it's used across the county. That money is used across the county versus being the Chaska Friends only for, for the Chaska library. Or Chanhassen Friends or Chanhassen, that kind of thing. So what that person does is they go to the liaison meetings, which are quarterly, and kind of feed back to the board what the foundation is doing, and then, the other way.
Got it.
Communication goes both ways for that role. So all three are open if anybody is interested. I feel like
You can nominate.
I feel like nominating Ern for president 2026 is something that I would like to do. Do we vote on them individually? Yeah, I think we do. So if there isn't anyone who wants to put their name in the hat, does anyone second Ern's nomination?
I'll second.
Awesome. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No nays? Congratulations.
Way to go.
Congratulations.
Happy to help.
And for secretary, is anyone really interested in having the role of secretary? Otherwise, I'm happy to play that role. Wendy, are you interested?
No.
Wendy was nodding.
No, got
She's
it, okay.
She's trying to hire engineers at her company. It's a full-time job just doing that.
Yes, exactly, it is. Well, not to be weird but by nominating myself, but if there, is anyone?
I'll nominate you.
Okay.
I nominate Stacy
I appreciate that.
Lindquist.
I appreciate that.
Secretary.
All in favor, say
Do you
aye.
need a second?
Wait, you do need,
Oh,
she
sorry.
needs a second.
I second
Oh,
the
thank
nomination.
you. Yes, second them on. See, this is why I'm not good at this job, is I forget what needs to be
I'm
seconded.
president somewhere else, so I don't need to be president.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And then Library Foundation Liaison. Is anyone interested in that role to try it out? Amber?
I will take it.
Yeah, it is fun. I think that you would love it. So,
That's Michelle.
yes, Michelle, thank you. Motion to nominate Michelle.
I will move to
Thank
nominate
you.
Michelle.
Do I have a second nomination, or second motion? A second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Wendy. All in favor of Michelle for the foundation liaison?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
And I can connect more with you offline about the library foundation, because I'm part of that group as well. So, but we won't meet again until April.
See, well, I don't have anything to do today, so
Sounds like a great.
Whew, that was heavy. Felt like a lot of
Are you
stuff.
feeling good?
And we meet in Waconia.
Yes, they do. Get the date
There we
right
go.
though, because I went there. I went there once and it wasn't the right date. Which was pretty funny because I flew there too. I was late and it was, anyway. Incentives and prizes policy. Right? Policy? Yes.
Well, an approval, so I can touch base on this. So this, we did have this on the agenda last month.
Right.
And I put together some more detailed
Oh, thank you so much. I noticed that.
notes and rationale and kind of tried to piece that together a little bit better for part of the proposal. So essentially, speaking of incentives and prizes, when we do reward reading with reading, we want to make sure that they are quality materials. There are some that we can purchase at a discounted price, which often will align with what the state statute says as $5 or less, but then there are many other materials, especially as you get into older readers, that are much higher than that now. So what we're bringing to you for the second year in a row is for your approval to be able to purchase some materials up to the amount of $25. And that would also include the gift cards. But just noting what Margot said too, we don't anticipate that will be as large of a spend. But I should note too that this funding comes from our friends groups primarily and our foundation. So this is not tax levy dollars that supports these either. So these are the separate nonprofit organizations that provide funding for these. Happy to answer any other questions about that. But that's kind of in a nutshell, in a brief nutshell, where we're at with that, so.
$5 is just not going to cut it.
No,
It
$5
might
is
have-
sure not
I
going to
have
cut
thought
it.
too when I read
It
it.
might have 30, 40 years ago, but
Right.
yeah.
Not anymore. And again, we do, it speaks to that quality versus quantity. When we have those reading rewards, we really want we want the kids to be excited, and that will help in turn keep them reading too.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
and I think Sarah's spoken about, I feel like you have said, watching those kids like come up to the book cart and pick their book prizes, they get really excited
Yeah,
about.
I mean, even me, when I get my book after summer reading, I mean, I cannot get a book that I would enjoy reading for that amount of money for it, so, yeah.
Sure. So do you, under the assumption that the volume of rewards that we distribute will not fall, we want to give as many rewards as we feel students deserve. Are we going to bust the budget, and might we have to go out and do some fundraising for that, do you think?
No, I think we'll be, I mean, if we're comparable to our ask, like to the foundation and friends groups from last year, we'll be okay.
Okay. And so they may respond by also ponying up.
Right, and
Okay.
we've had that in the past, especially with some of the friends groups too, but I would say, just because I've had recent experience with the foundation, we'll just say, well, that's not enough of an ask, we want to give you
Sure.
more if
Of
they're
course.
able, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're grateful to our friends groups and foundation for the
Yes.
support they
Yes,
provide.
absolutely. Yep.
Where does that show up in the budget or not?
It doesn't,
doesn't.
no. So the foundation and the friends groups have their own individual bank accounts that they
Okay.
oversee. Although there are some pass-through line items, it gets a little clunky when you look at the finance report. We're going to talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that later
yeah.
too.
That's
So great question.
That's a to-do.
And I do typically, I try to include in my director's report to all of you later in the year, like what those asks were, like specifically for the foundation. I don't typically showcase like all the friends requests. We keep those local, but I will like include if you're curious, and I think it's nice to be able to share what the foundation is providing as well.
And do people get to choose what kind of reward they want? You mean a gift card, paperback book, coffee shop gift card, or are there set amounts of those?
I'm looking at Margot, because
And then you distribute at your discretion.
So no, what we do is every branch has a card, basically. We order books and have books on a cart.
Okay.
And so when kids come in, they turn in their form or their, whatever it's gonna be this year, what we have, and then they can pick a book.
Okay.
It's that, so they do have choices, and we try to keep it well-stocked.
Okay.
So they have good choices.
I'm just
Is there a
wondering.
lot of community engagement, like where businesses will donate?
We haven't gone down that road. I know historically, I think people will ask like Rotaries or Lions Clubs, or I'm still figuring out who's been asked historically where I am now. But I do know that can be an option to do that. I'm not sure if that's a larger discussion. I know we want to be careful to not overtax our local community organizations. So part of it is making sure we're talking system-wide and in terms of the county engagement or anything that might be happening, so, yeah.
I know occasionally the foundation will receive like an individual donation from a family or from an individual, and that individual can earmark it towards a specific, they could say, I'd like that specifically go to summer reading, or maybe they would like it to go specifically to Chaska. So the foundation is more than willing to work with whether it's the local businesses or individuals that donate. So.
And I do need to run, but since, because my 6:30 meeting got moved to an hour away instead of a half an hour away. And, but do we want to just touch base a little bit on the financials since that brought through? Or are you going to talk about that in your director report?
I can just I can jump ahead for a moment.
Okay.
If that's all right,
That's
Chair,
just fine.
Madam Chair. And that did not get included in the budget, but I did print off the full IFS report for all of you tonight. Our intent is to go to an executive summary to roll up many of these lines to give a broader, higher level picture. Our accountant very recently retired from public services that we work with. So Mary Kay, our assistant finance director, will be working on a draft.
Oh, bless her little heart.
So,
Okay.
so the executive summary, I really do hope that we will have that by next month. I'm always happy to provide the full budget report as well. But I think an executive summary will be more beneficial for our discussion, and it will be much easier to review together. And this is so early in the year.
It's very short.
Well, it's short,
Yeah,
there's
like-
not a lot of numbers.
There's not a lot of activity yet, but it will give you the picture of what it looks like for the year ahead.
And maybe we can think about, what other data we want to be included in that.
Exactly.
As well. So the idea of getting pages of numbers and
Yeah,
not
I mean,
really
and
knowing what that is.
If she's new, like I'm happy to help her, like I do finance
Oh.
in my day job, so I'm like happy to help her.
Oh, hopeful to know that.
The accountant retired and we got a new person.
We
like,
have
yeah,
a person
just
that we can
offer
probably
it
help
up.
us with our executive summary. All right, thank you.
And that was one thing I like noticed even in the packet that I got. It's like there's a lot of numbers, but
Not a lot
what
of
do we do with the numbers or what actions are taken? So
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you.
Great. And I think that, this will be a really good opportunity as we start the new year to really look at what is beneficial for all of you to review and have discussion and to be able to look at. So,
Right.
so that's not a lot of an update, but
No,
that's
but
where
we
we're
just
at,
wanted to
so,
let you know, a
Yep.
little peek into what's coming and what we're working on. And then we'll also be working on kind of looking at kind of more of a comprehensive library plan that we don't have a lot of details around, but we'll just plant that seed on what that looks like. So, yeah.
so all good things for long range planning. So
Yes.
it'll be good, definitely.
Excellent. So I need to duck out. Any other questions from Commissioner Warren. I won't be able to make it to that legislative session for libraries because I'm speaking at chamber meeting.
Okay. All right.
Bummer.
It might be Erin and I
Yes.
hitting the pavement, as they say, so.
So
Okay.
I am bummed about that whole double booking happening in my world, so apologies for that. All right, well, nice meeting you.
You do, Lisa?
What?
I said, you do. I know another Lisa Anderson, so you're not.
What?
Yeah.
No way, that's how I
Shock
get
me.
elected. You know, voter confusion, it works.
I was going to run against the other Michelle Bachman and see how that would go.
Hey,
She
yeah,
never knew that.
that should be interesting. And by the way, I get to this meeting every other month because I'm also booked at the Mental Health Advisory Committee meeting meets at the same time. So I come every other month. Yeah.
We're glad when you can be here.
Yeah, so
We're grateful.
just
Yes.
Yes.
just the, at first I was like, oh, I'm double booked, and then I realized, oh, that's just sort of way of life these days, so.
I have a band concert I gotta run to. in 15 minutes.
So nice to meet you, nice to meet you too.
Take care. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Not, so we don't lose track. We do still need a motion to approve the incentives and prizes.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Motion approved.
Wonderful, thank you.
And the next one we are looking at is the the removal of inactive patrons and the waiving of associated bonds.
Yes, so I've put together, really with help from our library systems administrator, Bob Lincoln, some documentation for you, but to give you kind of a brief overview, we need to do a purge of inactive patrons from our, what's called our ILS system, which is our integrated library software catalog system. We have not done this since 2020 when we migrated to our new software system.
wow,
And some of it had to do with coming out of the pandemic and all of that.
Yeah.
This is something that moving forward, we need to do on an annual basis so it does not build up so much. There are actually some MELSA systems, other library neighboring systems, that they will run this as a nightly report. So I mean, there's different considerations we can look at depending upon the capacity of what our system can do and what our staffing can do as well. But nonetheless, so this might look a little daunting in numbers, but this truly will benefit cleaning up all of these inactive accounts. It's going to improve our system performance potentially. But it is nearly 20,000 patrons and then an associated amount of, as you can see, I mean, almost 28,000 in fines that are part of those accounts. Now, one of the things as you look at those fines, the bulk of the fines are patrons that have fines under the threshold of $25. We don't see, even if they were active, you can still check out with up to $25 in fines. So we don't see getting that revenue likely from most anyway, but these are truly inactive patrons. And we have a process too where we've been doing, I think, I'm trying to think if it's been the last year, a little over a year or maybe even longer, where we send kind of reminder emails to patrons to welcome them back to, reenact their activity. So we've been doing some communication efforts on that side, and obviously we also, if a patron realizes their card has expired, there's a process to come in and re-up that activity piece. So we still have, I don't think we noted that here, even with purging this amount of patrons, I think we'll still be 55 or 60,000 patrons.
Wow.
I should have put that number on
Okay.
here. I don't think we did. So.
Okay. Well, you're actually answering some questions that I had about this, because the question that was running through my mind when I read this proposal was, is there still some value to these records? I can understand how storage is an issue. So my first question is can we archive these records separately so that they don't jam up the system? And it sounds like you've already tried some outreach, but you didn't get diminishing returns. You got 0 returns from that. That at this point, expending system resources to try to reach out to these people and say to them, we were so happy to have you in our system before. We would love to have you back. We'll waive your fine if you could complete a survey, the attached survey, where we ask them questions about why they stopped patronizing. I mean, there may be simple explanations like, well, I moved, or whatever. But when it comes to issues like this, I always ask, is there still some value left to these records? Is there a way that we can build our business from this?
And I'd even say, because now you got to draw the line of going forward, putting the policy in place of before we, what time frame we're going to consider them unengaged. What do we do with the markers, with the survey, and then do that, but we at least got to clean up the garbage, and I would put that type of policy procedure in place with the new clean data. Because there's it's such the volume right there.
Sure.
And then even if you get the survey, so essentially I think it's kind of a two-part process, clean up and then make a good policy put in place to go forward then. With the surveys, the engagement, kind of combine the two. Because again, if it's 1 or 2 clicks or 1 or 2 taps, and then we got the reason, I moved out of the area.
Right.
Well, those are some, those might be more.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, right?
Yeah, those are pretty easy ones.
Yeah.
Or
I
my
moved,
kids
or-
aged out, or, those types of
we
things.
want to know.
Sure.
Yeah, so again, that's really great information, it's an easy click too.
Sure.
Part of the thing too is we are big on privacy in libraries, right?
Yes.
So we don't hold records. So archiving records is not something
Can't
we
do that.
do.
Okay.
I'm sure we could, but it's not something libraries do because we don't retain that information. It's easier for somebody to come back and reapply.
Yes.
It doesn't cost them anything than it is for us in terms of time and energy and effort. Because a lot of people they leave because their kids age out. That's like a lot of people. Weekly, we have people who come in and say, oh, I used to come here all the time. I just started, you've got a printer or whatever. So they'll come back. So you're right, there's a value in that, but there's a really strong value in the fact that we don't keep records.
Sure. Okay.
This is a transactional, community-based trust thing we offer.
Sure. But there is an element of building one's, I hate to say building one's business, but that's the first thing that comes to mind. I mean, we always are out to build patronage, and this is one potential tool. But I do appreciate from a cost-benefit perspective that the system simply may not have the resources, may not have the person power to disseminate a survey to these former patrons, let alone go into each record and extract contact information. It's disappointing to know that there's so many accounts payable, if you will. There's so many people that are not paying their fines, and I'm thinking, what is wrong with these people?
What
Why are they
percentage
not?
of those people have those fines? Is it like all the people have a little bit?
Well, they're not honoring their obligations, and I just don't understand that.
I get it. And I actually made 2 notes when I sat down with this. The first note I said was, dang, that hurts.
Yes, it
But I get
does.
it. I said, but I get it. That's what I wrote on the page the first time I looked at it. And then what I wrote is, we forgive fines. We did that
Yeah.
starting this year? Yeah.
Yes.
We did
Yeah,
that,
starting
yes,
this
I
year,
understand
or
that.
2025, we forgave fines. So I wrote underneath
Okay.
it, think of it as a gift. So what I would say is, if we're gonna reach out to these 20,000 patrons, what I might say is, if you haven't been coming to the library because you owed a bunch of money, it's been forgiven.
Yes.
We'd love to see you back. If we're gonna do anything, I would do that and
But
call
then
it
we
a
have
day.
to wipe out the
Yeah,
28,000.
if they were
that's-
like, I can't afford it, I don't go to the library because I can't afford it, it's been
There are
forgiven.
people who will
Yep.
they'll get a card for their baby,
Yes,
they'll get a card for their
right,
kids,
yes,
they'll get
yes.
a card for their husband who doesn't
Yep,
use the library.
right.
And they'll keep that
Completely,
limit going,
yeah.
so
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and you're right, the previously stipulated policy wiped that,
Wiped all that
all
out.
those
So-
liabilities
So all
away,
these people
yes.
who maybe haven't been coming, who
Yes.
still have fines, I think of it as a gift. It's a
Okay.
gift.
And you said the 55 to 60 number that you threw out, that's total, that'll be remaining. It's such a huge percentage of
Yeah.
the total.
Yes, it is.
right?
Yeah.
The other thing you might want to keep in mind is COVID.
Yeah.
We had
Right.
a change in
Behavior.
patron behavior during COVID. There were people who used the library differently during COVID, and it could go either way. I think I agree with you. I mean, I know it's not my decision. I'm all for wiping away any debt, just because I think it's fun. And I also think that starting from scratch is great, and building strong policies going forward is a really good idea. But I do think there's a lot of weird things that have plugged into this number. Because of, I think there were people who got library cards to use some of our services during COVID, because for multiple reasons, and then they don't use it anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
But we don't know that, and I think that the time and energy, this is my personal opinion as a staff person, I can't even imagine asking my staff right now, on top of everything else, to ask them to encourage people to
Got
fill
it.
out a survey,
Absolutely.
when we want
Right.
to get surveys on the things that we actually need.
Yep.
Completely. Completely.
And it just, I want a question for myself, like this isn't just using your card in the building, this like includes Libby
Mhm.
usage and,
And yeah.
Good questions, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question, yeah. Because if you're using Libby, you wouldn't come up as a, what do you call them? Inactive.
You know, they take it from you when your 21 days are up.
I know, they do.
I'm done! Take it back!
You and I, we'll talk about that after the meeting, because I have a comment about that, actually. But
Can't get any more books because I'm at a 15 limit.
Right. I think the plan is reasonable, and all the ideas that we threw out about a survey or send an email, we welcome you back, your fine is gone, like you guys can take those and decide whether or not you want to do them, but I mean,
I think that's great if we were to start from scratch and to be really
Yes.
intentional about building
Yeah.
some of those pieces. If you can look at it as a great opportunity
Yep.
for us as a team to really build that out better moving forward, because obviously there's some growth needed in this
and maybe
process.
just a social media post about, we will be, cycling inactive accounts, just to let you know, if you didn't come to the library because you owed money, that has been forgiven. Like, to get that messaging out,
Sure.
that might just be a simple social media post,
I
right?
agree, that's a great idea.
I didn't think of that until now, but that's much easier. That's just, we put it out there. Cool.
Dude, Valentine's Day, we love you so much.
Actually, that's great branding. That's great branding.
February is I Love to Read month.
Yeah, I love to read, and we love you, and we'd like to see you again. Yeah, I mean,
like it.
there you go. Cool. Do I have any motion to approve this?
I make a motion to remove the 19,531 patrons that have been inactive for more than 5 years, as
Yes.
presented.
And also zeroing out their fines.
And zeroing out their fines as presented.
Excellent. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? So moved. Purging and waiving fines. The very first call of business that I did as a person in here is we agreed that they shouldn't have to be open on Christmas Eve past 4. That was my first.
So like with the next steps or action items, how do you guys capture then the follow-ups to make sure that there's, what we talked about, someone picks up that action item?
So next steps, the fines part goes to accounts receivable request write-off to county finance. So
Okay.
that's the next piece, which they are already aware that is likely coming pending your approval.
Okay?
And then we start to work towards scheduling of the purge process in potentially April. And then as part of that, we need to work as a management team to develop the process, which is what you were weighing in on as well, moving forward. I'd be happy then or our tech team, one of us can bring back a report at some point
Yes.
to walk through the process and where we're at. and the progress that we've
And you're
made.
certainly welcome to
Yeah.
engage us as you're putting it together.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
It could be a good discussion item,
Okay,
you know. Yeah.
I can tell you how I do church members.
fantastic.
Excellent.
You always want them back, but, you know, things change. I gotta run.
I'm sorry, who seconded that? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
Amber.
We don't normally go this long, just for reference.
Yes,
we have.
We have been. We have
I
been.
don't have a band concert I gotta haul
Okay.
my son to.
Enjoy the band concert.
Yes.
Oh, no, it's the big 900 people in the gym concert. Oh, that one. The one for the fire marshal needs to look the other way, because it's.
But all the voting stuff is over now. The voting stuff is over. Now it's just sit back and hear fun things.
What happens next? Yes.
What happens next?
Strategic plan review.
Yeah.
That sounds exciting. So that was an additional handout that I brought tonight. So obviously you haven't had a chance to dive deeply into it. But I did want to at least provide this to you and work towards being a little more intentional too, as just keeping you all apprised of the work that we're doing as part of this as we move forward. So currently we're working on 2026 and getting that in place. Some of our teams have already established goals. So this is just a look back at 2025 and where we landed with all of our strategic tasks and the work that our team did. And a lot happened despite a very challenging year of staffing. So I just want to make note of that. And as you look at this, and there's two documents I should say. One is the overarching strategic plan that shows just the bigger, broader plan, 5-year plan that began in 2023 and will go through 2027. And it very much aligns with what previously was the county's strategic plan, and so the county now has a new strategic plan. So we will start to weave that in a bit as we move forward, but we will not fully change ours until this one is completed in 2027. But this is the 2025 task document that our teams have gone through and noted the progress that they've made. A majority of everything was completed. Some may have been postponed or pushed ahead to 2026 based on staffing levels or priorities.
So many papers here.
This
Oh.
one with the,
Let's see.
Do you want to share? That's
I
all right,
have
I
an
can just
extra one.
listen, but.
I'll see if I have an extra one. If not, I'll get one to you. So, yes, and some ongoing, obviously, there's just some that are applicable in that regard. I won't read this word for word. Some highlights that I'd like to share just from this past year. Our collection team, along with, not just our collection team, it took really all hands on deck and our processing team to do some really huge relabeling projects for customer service purposes so that patrons and staff really can better access parts of our collection. So that was really just a lot of tremendous work that went into that. Another one that I think Margot mentioned in the youth services report was developing a teen Spanish language collection using Dolke funding. So another one that was really heavily geared towards that customer service side and seeing the needs that we need to meet in our communities. As I move all the way over to page 3, which shows a pillar of communities. Some of this, clearly was work with our community partners that we did. Some was staff training, specifically applicable to public safety issues, and our management team starting to work on emergency plans for our branches. So I guess those would be the highlights I would share with that. In the next area, which is culture, again, a lot of a lot of focus on development and staff training. That's something that we really value as a library management team for the staff, but the county really values that as well. We onboarded a new branch manager. That was part of our strategic work this year. So welcome, Margot. And then as we move forward, the whole next section, which I don't think that pillar on the far left got there, is connections. So a lot of this ties into technology work, not all of it. You know, the adult services team put a lot of emphasis on mental health and work to increase the awareness of mental health and working with community partners. Our virtual library card project continues to roll out, and that's a great example of a goal that is going to continue as we move ahead, as we reach out to other districts. Implementing Going Fine Free was a huge accomplishment, an exciting piece for our communities to be able to do that, and for accessibility for our communities. Finances, some of this work that the collection team had planned on was postponed, and that was really due to staffing and having vacancies in some of our core collection, one of our core selector positions. So some of that was postponed, but I think it's important to note that whatever we're doing, we have a team that does truly try to maximize our resources and be good stewards of the county's resources as well. It's a really important piece that we talk about. And then last, I'll just highlight in the growth area in the very end, implementing extended access at Victoria. So that was a really huge accomplishment. It's been going really well, as we heard, as those of you that were here last month heard from Patrick, a report, one of our other branch managers. So that's a really quick overview. I'm happy to address any questions, or after you've taken it and read it in-depthly, you can follow up.
So this is a 2023 to 27 plan.
Correct.
It's a 23, 24, 5-year plan. So we're now in year 4. So we're, you know, on a year-to-year basis, we tweak and update at our discretion. Sometimes things have to be dropped because we determine they're not feasible or we don't have the resources to do them. Sometimes we add new things, but the basic blueprint is still there. So when we get to 2027, then we will look at a new plan.
Correct.
Okay.
And I know that already, I think our leadership team, the branch managers and myself, are going to start to talk about what that process looks like of developing that. This plan was really led by our previous incredible director, Heidi Hawks. And so I know as director and with some of our new managers, we're excited to have this opportunity to really set that new next part of our next chapter in our library story, if I can use that analogy. So, but whether that, I know last time we did this very much in-house with our management team working through this process, and you know, I think that's something to discuss. Obviously, if you have an outside vendor come in and do, you know, a strategic planning, that takes resources too. But I really want to make sure that we have the right skill set to just be able to really help carry us forward and get the best plan in place too. It's really important to me. So that's probably more than you wanted to know tonight, but there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned the staffing shortages last year, like what drove that? I'm just curious.
So we ended up in a soft, well, it didn't feel so soft, but hiring freeze from the county. So as we had vacancies, they sat vacant. And then we did end up with a 1.5 FTE reduction coming into this budget year. So unfortunately, it's the western branches really
Hit hardest.
Yes.
Not the only ones, but hit the hardest, I will claim that. It was retirement, movement within the system, and then 2 people leaving for full-time with benefits in our branches. in the best.
Yeah, thank you.
So I wasn't driving them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
We like
that's
that.
probably pretty common across the board at companies and things too, right? Hiring freezes.
So everybody everywhere.
And then I just wanted to say one thing before we move on to the next item, but you heard us say Dulkey Grant a few times.
Yeah.
Do yourself, you'll enjoy this, I think. When you go home, just do a Google search for Charles Dulkey, like Carver County or City of Carver or something like that. It was a gentleman who passed away a few years ago and left a very large endowment.
I have heard that.
I didn't know what it was, and they talked about it several meetings when I first started, and I was like, I don't know what that is. I have to research that. It's very cool.
And we have a webpage dedicated to that.
Oh, do
and
we?
you
Oh,
can-
cool.
You can, which reminds me, I think there might be one you're missing. I have work to do.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, you can read about the different projects. There's just brief summaries that we've
Yeah,
done
that's
so far.
cool, because
Yep.
I know that that comes out of the foundation, right? The foundation manages that?
No, the county actually.
county
That does sit with the county.
Okay, cool,
Mhm,
but
Yep.
somehow, like that dollar amount isn't sinking as quickly as it would. Has that money been invested? Do you know?
No, I can't,
Okay.
I have to look back.
Okay,
I have to
for
check
s-
back with county finance, how they
Yeah,
have that sitting.
But
Yeah.
I feel like I remember looking at it and being like, wow, we're already a bunch of years into this and we still have so much left. Like, that's
That's a good.
either they're investing it or there's, we're being good stewards of the money. I don't remember how, and maybe I never knew. But it's, I think it's pretty great. Yeah.
And Sarah's on that committee.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
our liaison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, sorry. And then the next thing is just admin reports and grant reports.
Yes, and if I can just speak to a couple things briefly on my director's report. I'll give a brief staffing update, speaking of staffing. So from what we were, from the vacancies that we knew we'd be able to eventually refill, we're making great progress. So we have a new half-time library assistant at Chaska that just started at the end of January. Margot just wrapped up first round interviews for the adult services librarian out in the western branches, and very excited about that. So more to come later on that. We had a posting up for 2 half-time library assistant positions also in the western branches, and that posting closed last Thursday.
155.
Really?
155
Wow.
applicants.
My
That's a
goodness.
lot.
Interview 17, I think.
Wow.
That's terrific.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
Boy.
it is.
So that's all the really good news. The not so, positive piece is that if we do end up with future vacancies as we move forward, the county will take time to review those. So essentially a soft hiring freeze kind of continues because they're just, the uncertainty of budgets moving forward is what it is, so.
Ever present.
Yeah, exactly. So that's that. Norwood Young America, we're moving forward with plans
Yes.
for extended access. So we had a great visit with the city council and their city administrator and economic development coordinator. And so things are looking very promising there as well for a June 1st launch for extended access in Norwood Young America. Chanhassen had an unexpected closure due to one of 3 boilers not working, went in the really, really cold
It was so stinking cold.
temps, and with I'm trying to think if it's union or if it's employee relations. Either way, it's the guidelines that it has to be 65 degrees or higher for us to operate staff within our building. So
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was 63, I think, or 62 or something. It's cold.
So I do, just a short update that City of Chanhassen is in the process of getting quotes to get the one broken boiler repaired, hopefully sometime this year. And then they do have, it sounds like capital funds ready to go for the other 2 boilers to make sure they're up and stable for for the long term.
Well,
So,
right, because
yep.
they're making all that, they're doing all that construction over there, so they don't, you gotta be able to heat it.
So never ideal when we have to close, especially that
Sure.
was 2 days. But it happened. So we'll keep moving forward and glad for warmer temps right now.
Yeah.
So that's what I have. If you have any questions, let me know. Patrick, I believe, is covering the desk, so he's unable to be here tonight, but he said you'll be able to see what I was trying to tell by all the pictures in his report, so. And Kevin is under the weather, so he is keeping himself away as well. So we just have Margot.
Already shared it. I don't have my report in front of me, but I'm guessing that I shared information about our Dropbox was newly installed officially installed. That was wrecked in December. So that's been installed. So now we are officially able to have an outdoor Dropbox in Watertown. Thank you. Sorry. We are adding programming back. We are trying to be really thoughtful and slowly but surely adding some programming back. A big thing, and again, I need to shout out to our staff. With the extended access movement towards that, we had the kits that I think I may have mentioned previously, I'm not. We have a staff member, Tricia Leck, who is on the youth services team. She was managing the bookings of them, and they were stored in Norwood Young America, and she spent a lot of time breaking them down, leading them heavily with input from the team, but she got it from 61 to 25 containers that will be moving to admin sometime this month. But she put a lot of work into that, and the great part about that is that it's opening up the library. Right now, it's kind of blocked off to store the kits, and that's going to open up so people can walk all the way around and through by the windows, so that's a wonderful thing. Also, another shout out to Bridget Stewart, who primarily works in our Norwood Young American Watertown libraries. I'm focusing on staff a lot because we talk about patrons, and these guys make it good for the patrons, these guys and gals. Bridget is making sure we have art in the libraries. She has got, knows artists in the county, and she's been reaching out, and now we started with some artists in Watertown, and now we have artists showing in Norwood Young America as well. We're really working hard to realign the space in Waconia to make it more accessible and also help the flow and create more sitting spaces for people, because we have a lot of people who come to just sit in the space and who sit and read in the space. Pick up a book off the shelf. And the last thing is the outreach planning. That's a really big thing that we basically cut out in 2025 just because of staffing. And we're adding that back in and being very strategic about how we do it in the western branches. And everybody's really excited to get back out there. So they're great.
Good job.
And I did say, please come visit us in our libraries. You're always welcome, obviously. Everybody is, and especially you would love for you to see some of the things that are going on in the libraries, and not maybe just your local, but check out the other ones.
I did that last weekend,
Oh,
and it was so fun. And some of the artwork happened to be my neighbor.
Oh,
So I
really?
was like, oh, it's so fun to see
Oh,
her
that's
up in the
great.
library.
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
people really engage it.
Yeah.
It's not just wall dressing. We have people who come in. We had a period where we didn't have art in Waconia in between, and people were, well, where's the art?
Oh,
And
that makes
a
it
grandpa
fun.
and a grandkid come in. I mean, it's great. Great thing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we're actually at the bottom of our agenda. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adjourn.
Okay.
Thank you.
Exciting. Thanks, guys. This was fun.
Let's see if I have an extra extra one of those to send with you, otherwise I'll email you.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Was she gonna speak, shoot, now we're off the record technically, but was Lisa gonna speak to these, or what? Do we know why this was included in our packet?
Oh, I know, because it's just the updated, like in your folder, it's the updated 2026 adoption.
Got it,
So we just
okay.
tried to update that.
Yep, no problem, got it, yep.
Changes,
I'm not sure.
I recently cleaned my office and I
You will
found
have
my
that
in there,
folder.
okay.
Yep.
Yep,
Got some
and then
reading
there's
to
a
do.
fresh copy of that, so I did have one. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
no worries, thank you.
I think it's very cool that you went out to the libraries all on your
guess we
own.
should-
I have not
I
done
love
that
that.
yet. This is
It
year
was-
3.
That was
We
fun.
didn't have a
Yeah.
quorum, so.
Well, I guess I've been to all of them, but I didn't.
That doesn't need to be indicated.
Yeah, I have been to all of them, because we meet at all of them.
Well, okay.
Yeah, do we meet at generally the library, right? That's the city hall.
Correct, right.
But a lot of them are like right next to each other.
Right, yes, and it's, if you talk to someone who lives in Carver about why we don't have a library, sometimes they'll get kind of cranky about
They're
it.
in there
But there's
somewhere. But,
literally a state law
This is
about
today's
libraries and
agenda.
their proximity.
We have
And since